Hey,
What's going on?
just getting this audio.
Yeah.
You hear us all right?
Yeah.
What's going on, brother? How you been?
What's up, fellas?
What's going on? I'm Mike.
I'm
Next to
Leo.
me is Leo.
What's happening, fellas?
Meet you.
Yeah.
So tonight, for anyone who's going to be watching, we have a very special guest, former NFLer, Lofa Tatupu. Lofa played at King Philip in Rentham, Mass., so just about 20 minutes from us. He played at University of Maine, transferred to USC, played in games like the Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl. He went and got drafted by the Seahawks in the second round, played 6 seasons with them, 3 Pro Bowls, a first-team All-Pro, a Super Bowl appearance, and now he's taken his talents into the CBD business. He co-founded Zone In CBD, and their goal is to help recover faster, replenish the body, and to target the mind and body movement. So they're saying is aim higher, feel better, zone in. Lofa, what's going on, man?
What's happening, fellas? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're super excited.
So what are you up to nowadays?
Well, as you mentioned, I started the CBD company, Zone In CBD. A little background on that is my journey with CBD probably started about 3.5, almost 4 years ago, and after as you spoke, the pinnacle of my career, Pro Bowls, and a lot of success, and then just the mind-body connection started getting separated with every injury. 10 surgeries, 15 concussions, and that ultimately shortened my career. As soon as I got out of football, I lended some money in the real estate in the hemp and cannabis industry, and then just heard more and more and more. 2012 was about the first time I heard about CBD, and then around 15, 16, when I got into this space, I was like, hey, you know what? I might as well try it, see what it's all about. And I'm saying within days to a week, I felt better than I ever felt in my life. I mean, even in my Pro Bowl years. I played at about 240. I'm 235 now. I'm back dunking a basketball after all those surgeries, which is, kind of an impressive feat for a 5'11" Samoan.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us a little about your CBD line and about your company. What separates you from another company, and why should people want to buy from you guys and start trying out your products?
Yeah, good question. Well, all of our CBD is sourced. All the hemp is from the U.S., spanning across 8 states, but mainly the hemp comes from Kentucky and Colorado. So your source and the quality of is very important. I don't think a lot of people even go into detail to figure out where their hemp comes from. On top of it, we have a facility that our lab is we partnered with. They check all the certifications in terms of compliance and quality. So certificate analysis on every batch, every time it's touched, we have tests to go out and correspond with that, so we know who's touched it, how it's handled, and the quality of it is the biggest aspect. And then the lab, they're FDA approved facility, audited twice a year by the FDA, CGMP, so current good manufacturing practice certificate. Certified, and then also RX certified, meaning pharmaceutical grade.
It sounds like you got some a lot of good stuff going on over there.
Man, I'm telling you, put me back together, and I guarantee you, I could go back and play. Now I don't know how long I'd last until I get another surgery, but I could step back out on the field.
And you think CBD is a big reason for it?
Oh, absolutely. I used to prescribe pain meds and anti-inflammatories, even sleep meds. I don't take any of those. And then all the other supplements that I got into post-football that I heard were good for you and beneficial for, the cognitive, deficits I was facing in terms of memory loss and, concentration. I tried all of them, man. And then even just the mood enhancers that they say to take, vitamin C, vitamin D, glucosamine for the joints, fish oils. I tried all those, and I don't take any of those anymore. And I don't take any of the anti-inflammatories or the sleep meds that I used to have to take in order just to get to sleep.
That's really good. That's really good to hear. I mean, NFL players should be really, tune into your business too. I mean, they could really use it, I'm sure.
Yeah, they should zone in.
They should definitely zone in. So now we're going to touch on the football subjects. So you played on some really good USC teams. You had Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, those guys. Which USC team did you like being a part of more, 2003 or 2004?
And I always get, flack for saying this, but that 03 team, I think was better. And in terms of, of course, 03, we had Mike Williams at receiver with Kerry Colbert. Of course, Steve Smith and Dwayne Jarrett came in and really came to their own the next year. Steve was on that '03 team as well.
Yeah.
But, offensively, yeah, '04, Reggie and them were another year older, getting more touches. But that '03 defense, I think we led the nation in rush yards at 59 a game. Tom Malone won I don't know if he won the Ray Guy, but his net average for punting was like 50-something yards. I mean, it was just that damn Aaron Rodgers and that overtime loss in Cal that kept that team from going undefeated that year.
I'm sure Aaron Rodgers is hard to face.
Yeah, he was, we didn't do ourselves any favor. I think we had 5 turnovers and a punt block in that game. So with all that, it still took triple overtime to put us away. So, we still fought the good fight.
Yes, sir. So our next question is: you played a lot in a lot of big notable games like the Super Bowl, Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl. If you could go back to one game, which would it be and why?
I mean, I think we know why. There was only one game in there that we didn't win.
Yeah.
It was the Super Bowl. And it is what it is. Hats off to the Steelers. They were better that day. But I don't think the moment was too big for us, which, that's what you hate to see for a lot of teams, that they get there and the moment's just too big.
Right.
Of course, the thing that sticks out the most is we had, a lot of calls go against us. And as one of the least penalized teams, that's what Holmgren really prided himself on, was that, it's hard enough to beat somebody else. Don't beat yourself.
Yeah.
And so for us to come out, I think with like a Super Bowl record in terms of flags, that was pretty devastating. And I could see how people would think that the moment was too big for us, but it was still a very competitive game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you got to play for Pete Carroll in college and in the NFL. What did a guy like him mean to your career?
I mean, looking back, as a kid, you're always like, nah, me and my teammates, we did it. But Pete, and not just Pete, but all the coaches he had in place, Nick Holt, who Purdue's defensive coordinator, Rocky Seto, who helped refine the hawk tackle up here in the NFL, Ken Norton Jr. I mean, that guy won 3 straight Super Bowls, a captain of those teams, and, really put in the leadership. And then, of course, Ed Ogeron, who just won a national title on his own with LSU. They really implemented the foundation and the structure, discipline and just, setting the goals and then just how to go about being a pro. So I think that's what Pete and his staff really brought to us at SC, was that form of structure, which ultimately led to me having some early success in the NFL.
Absolutely. I mean, Pete Carroll, he's been super successful and continuing to do it. So seems like a pretty good guy to play under.
It's been about a decade of dominance out here. I know you guys know all about that in New England.
Oh, absolutely.
What are you going on 2 over there, huh?
Yeah.
So my next question for you is: who is your favorite teammate to play with?
Ooh, offensive or defensive?
We'll go both.
Okay. Offensive. Nate Burleson or Deion Branch. Some about the receivers, man. They got the personality. You see Nate on TV. Everybody loves him, and they kept it light, but they knew how to be pros. And you really appreciate that from them. Hasselback, I grew up playing against him and his brothers, so our fathers played together, so that's always a great one too.
Yeah.
Defensively, I got to go with Leroy Hill, another fellow linebacker, 2005 draft class. It's so many people, they talk about the success I had. I really thought Leroy should have been, rookie of the year, with a 3rd rounder coming in, having 75 tackles and 7.5 sacks. You don't see that often. And, it was a fun year, and, we played a good 6 years together.
Yeah, you had a dominant rookie year.
It was a good team for the whole, we had a good class.
Yeah, for sure.
Who's one player on the defensive side of the ball that you wish you could have lined up with game in and game out?
Someone I wish I could have lined up with. It's a tough one. Would have loved to play with, Ray Lewis or because Urlacher are the guys you look up to, right? But of course they play your position, so I probably would have been sitting the bench. Let's see.
They drafted you.
Yeah. I had a lot of great teammates that, I wouldn't trade for the world, but I was supposed to play with Troy in college, Troy Polamalu. And guy I always respected. I mean, guy was just a machine. And to watch his career that first year when I was at SC, but then also watch him, put out a Hall of Fame career. That was amazing. I would have loved to line up with Troy one time in the NFL.
Yeah, he was a playmaker. He was fun to watch.
Oh yeah, great guy too.
So yeah, who is the most talented quarterback you ever lined up against?
Talented? I mean, everybody talks about Lamar Jackson right now.
Right.
And how to defend him, but we had a guy by the name of Michael Vick that was man. I mean, he's a 4.3 40, maybe even a 4.2, I think, when he was at Virginia Tech. Could throw the ball anywhere, and it was just he had an instinct and a knack about him to just make the big play. And so, that was a tough matchup, wherever he played. And then he didn't have the true run and shoot back then. So,
right.
Yeah, I'd have to say most talented would definitely be Mike. Peyton was the most frustrating in terms of, he had these checks and, you run a couple checks and you go to the sideline and you change the check and everybody's on the same page. He did it like mid-drive. Yeah. And so there was one play, I think it was like it was either East Asia or East Europe, and that was always a stretch to our left. And so I was like, hey, here comes a stretch. And he just starts smiling. I look over and I see Reggie Wayne in the slot. And I was like, wait a minute. And I got covered too. I'm deep middle. So I was like, you know what? I'm not biting on that play action. It was a play action. And then I think he hit either Austin Collie or Pierre Garçon down the right sideline. So, that was challenging to say the least.
Yeah, me and him were talking off air. We were like, we were trying to guess who it would be. And we came up with Peyton. And, I mean, it wasn't the most talented, but definitely the best quarterback you ever faced, huh?
Definitely the most frustrating, yeah. A field general out there.
Yeah, so to tie into that question, who was the most talented running back you had to tackle?
We had phenomenal running backs in the NFC West. Edge James, Hall of Fame. Steven Jackson, I believe he should one day be a Hall of Fame. Frank Gore will be a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
Fred Taylor from Jacksonville was no joke, fellas. About 6'1", 235, and he could outrun you. So whether he's run you over or outrun you, you're in trouble if you see him in open field. That was my first ever game too. And just to get to him, you had to get through a guy by the name of Greg Jones, who was a fullback, out of Florida State. I know you know who Greg Jones is.
Oh, yeah. He was good.
Yeah. Fred could do it all.
So to tie into that question, I mean, you went against Sean Alexander in practice. I'm sure he was a beast, huh?
Oh, Sean's one of the most gifted, running backs in terms of instincts and, cuts. His shoulders were always downfield, so very rarely got tackled for a loss, much like Edge James. But we weren't allowed to hit, Sean in practice. That was Homer wouldn't let us.
Fair enough.
Can't touch 37. He can't touch number 8.
Yeah. So who was one player that you modeled your game after?
That's a great question. I took bits and pieces from everybody. And, YouTube wasn't huge back in my day, but, if it was now, I would tell these young linebackers to just dissect everybody's game because you never know what you can add to yours, and you never know what's possible until you try it. For instance, my favorite or the all-time greatest cover 2 linebacker, Brian Urlacher, he had this shuffle technique. And so he would shuffle down the middle of the field. He's 6'5", and he ran a 4.4, so he could do that. Now, most linebackers aren't fast enough to do that, but laterally I could get that done. So I just started trying it all off-season in 2005 or 6. And it led to more interceptions that next year. And then Zach Thomas, some of the smaller guys, Zach Thomas, London Fletcher, Dexter Coakley, Dat Wynn, all those smaller guys, because that's who, are most similar to me. Those are the guys I'd study. Zach Thomas had a phenomenal hat and hands or headbutt and press, and so he was able to get off blocks, even though they always said he couldn't, which was a lie. So there was so many guys that, I tailored my game after that. I really appreciate the guys that could do everything as opposed to just, really strong in one area.
Right.
I got one for you. So in 2007, you're selected first team All-Pro. Huge accomplishment. What separated that season compared to the rest for you?
I think we had a really good year. Defensively, I think we were ranked a little higher than we were in years past, so that led to a little more attention. I know, I believe that was the year that Brian Russell, Deion Grant, showed up on the back end. I think we signed Patrick Kearney as well. So we added some pieces, and finally with Kearney there, Julian Peterson had less double teams his way. So we all enjoyed a really good year in terms of statistically and as a team. And I think the only difference was that our defense was a little more stout. That maybe we all got a little more recognition than years past. I think True went to his first Pro Bowl too that year.
Yep. Marcus Trufant. He was good. So last question for you. Who was your favorite team growing up? So you went to King Philip. It's obviously Massachusetts. Were you a Patriots fan?
I mean, my dad, I'm second generation, NFL. My dad played for the Patriots for 13 years. So yes, whenever we weren't in it, I was cheering, because there was a lot of tough years. How old are you guys?
23.
24.
Yeah, you guys don't know what hard years are.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm talking like 15-1, 14 or 1-15, 2-14.
Yeah.
My dad played on those teams, and that's the fan base was so great. To them, it was just incredible. And so I grew up a Patriots fan. My favorite player of all time. This is back when I thought I was a running back. Was Thurman Thomas, and Hall of Famer for Buffalo Bills. So that was the one game I got to go to every year. My parents would let me stay up, even if it was a Monday night or Sunday night game back then. I was able to go to those games, and those are great to watch. They had all those Bruce Smith, Darryl Talley, Cornelius Bennett, Jim Kelly, Frank Reich, Nate Odoms. So I guess you would say the Bills and the Patriots were my favorite squads, but I did love the Chargers too because my man Junior was over there.
Yeah, Junior Seau. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So did you always think that was your goal always to go to the NFL, or was that always in mind?
Since I was 7 years old, my man.
Yeah.
Since one of the first times I ever watched my dad play football, I knew I was going to play football, and
awesome.
it didn't always look promised. I mean, when I came out of high school, I didn't get recruited. I had 4 scholarship offers. 3 of them were to play quarterback at UConn, Temple, and Rutgers. And I looked around the NFL landscape, and there were no 5'11" quarterbacks. Maybe Doug Flutie. That was about it, But Doug was a special athlete. So I chose to go to University of Maine and take the scholarship to play linebacker. And then eventually ended up transferring to SC, and the rest is history.
Yeah, you won Defensive Player of the Year that year, or for UMaine, right?
I think Stephen Cooper did. You remember Stephen Cooper? 7 years with the Chargers. He was a beast in his own right. So that's the 3. Me, Stephen Cooper, and Brandon McGowan were the starting 3 linebackers over there, and Malik Nichols. And so Malik was our captain. And me, Steve, and Brandon all played 6 years plus in the league, which is kind of incredible because at SC, the guys next to me that won 2 natties, we collectively it was Grudegood and Dallas Sarts. They each spent a couple years, and it's crazy to see how when you get to the NFL, like that pans out. And that's what Jack Cosgrove in Maine said. He's like, hey, if you're good enough, you'll make it. And so it was cool to see some of my teammates at the next level. Coop with the Chargers and Brandon over with the Bears. And he played with the Patriots for his last 2 years.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, Lofa, I mean, thank you for the time. We appreciate it greatly. This is by far the biggest name we've had on here, and we're super happy to have you on. I mean, maybe again in the future during the football season we have you back on and talk some NFL.
Absolutely, Phil. I'll make time to talk football. So let me know.
All right. Well, this is going to be on Apple and Spotify. So if you want to go give a listen, it'll be up there tomorrow morning. So I mean, we really appreciate it.
All right, fellas. Stay blessed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.